Master Tavern Keeper's History of the Old World. Here we go. My copy of Necrodomo's Transcendentia. How fortuitous. Nay, portentous. I left a bookmark in the very page. Yes, here we are. So, is everyone sitting comfortably? Good. Then, listen closely as we examine the accounts and prophecies pertaining to the past and future of Drachenfels, the Great Enchanter. In the time of the great rivers of ice, before the toads came down from the stars, withered by years and sickened by vice, undying yet dying in a furrow of frost tar. From another he stole life and persisted, wearing its flesh until the flesh was worn thin. All the while death's call he resisted, seeking victim after victim, new blood, fresh skin.
Mark, so this is where you found out about Drachenfels' origins then?
Yes, but also no. I read this more recently, but I was already aware of his beginnings due to a few oblique things that my friend, the Archmage Calhordis Whitemane, had mentioned. Things he'd come across during his apprenticeship in the Tower of Hoeth. But I've already related those to you earlier. Let us continue, eh? Next, the verse of Necrodomo tells us of some of the atrocities and vile acts that Drachenfels apparently committed during the prehistory of the Old World. But it never gets very specific, so I'll just skip over those parts. It then goes on to speak, vaguely, admittedly, about his defeat at the hands of Sigmar, and then his resurrection in his weakened form over a century or so later. After this, it chronicles his gradual rise in strength, gives us a warning to steer clear of the Leper's Pavan, which we spoke of earlier, and then it goes on to the contemporaneous return of the Great Enchanter to the sphere of men, now, in this age. For many centuries he will hide in his arcane keep, secreted away deep in the grey mountains, unassailable and spirit-fed, until the dawn of the Age of Three shall end his sleep, returning him to the crucible of emperors, to play where men have bled.
Oh, yeah. And with the civil strife caused by the rival pretenders to the throne plaguing the Empire right now, this certainly sounds like it's talking about our modern era.
Indeed, and most concerning these recent events are. But anyway, back to Necrodomo's book, eh? Now, the verses written up to this point are all known things. However, from here on in, the prophecies delve into the future, and without the clarity of hindsight, these lines seem a lot more difficult to understand, at least to me. Nonetheless, let us dive in. Perhaps, between us, we can divine some meaning. Paravon, beware! The enchanter comes for tribute. Despair! with a rotten army of the undead and winged fiends o' northern thunderings. Head-piked militia at the fore, only the spineless will be spared. For even if you pay your betters, he will flay and serve them to his demonic underlings. Oh, my goodness. Now, that sounds ominous. The Dukedom of Paravon is just southwest of Drachenfels Castle, so I can well believe it will become a target for his predations.
Ah, indeed. I cannot tell, though, if this prophecy is a one-off warning or something that will happen over and over. And, as you heard, there is no date given. It could be 300 years from now, or it could be 1,000. Who knows? That said, Paravon might be somewhere to, avoid. Anyway, on to the next one. Repent. I repent. Trust not these words, Sigmar's scion. It is the thirst of vengeance that lies behind them. Heed not deeds, nor coin done in their name. For a bloody maw drips beneath his mask of gold and iron. Poison, petrify, and then play he'll have his way with court queen and child, and end your empty-bellied reign.
Och, now ain't that another ominous little prophecy? I think it's a warning to one of your emperors not to trust this here Drachenfels. Although, with his reputation, I can't imagine why anyone would.
Ah, yes, I agree, but you never know. Anyway, on to the next one. Arrogant as he falls, yet it will be no fall at all. And there'll be a twist by a knot-bound, unbound, rebound, and cut. And those that thought the Great Enchanter sent to the wall shall find his proxies' knives out and plunge deep into them blood gut to harvest the part he needs for his return. And at last, to take the realm of Sigmar for his very own, he will arise. But the God King, too, will have agents in whose eyes vengeance will burn, and under a rain of hammer blows shall the enchanter's name finally die.
Oh, yeah, my goodness, by Ulrich's beard, what can all that mean? Och, well, the way I heard it leads me to think that it sounds like your Drachenfels fella there is gonna fake his own death to hoodwink his enemies, and then return to take your empire.
But the last part sounds to me like he will be thwarted.
Oh, yeah, so he will finally be dead then?
Alas, no, I think not. For the prophecy says that he will lose his name under a rain of hammer blows, not his soul. For there is but one more prophecy that I believe pertains to Drachenfels. But for that, I will need to go and get my copy of Necrodomo's The End Times. Here, hold my beer. Ah, here we go. My copy of Necrodomo's The End Times. Ah, how fortuitous again. I left a bookmark in the very page. Woe, woe, woe unto all at the great necromancer's call. For to his summons shall come the vilest and most corrupted of the deathless and insane, the ageless lords of the shambling dead, the scions of Lamia's fall, and a great enchanter from the grey mountains, with neither memory nor name.
Oh, my goodness. By the Great Necromancer, do you think he means Nagash? Ah, yes, I do indeed. And my reading of it is that, he will resurrect Drachenfels, although the Great Enchanter will have neither memory of his defeat, his life, nor even his own name. Och, an opportunity for redemption, perhaps? Looking at what comes next. If it is, it looks like it will be squandered with wild abandon. This nameless thing shall accompany Vashanesh of Nehekara to the edge of an icy waste, and in Bastion keep back the children of dark gods with soldier and stone. But boredom shall give its idle mind the need to inflict suffering upon its allies. Brother will torture brother, slay and flay day after day until all fall and are but wet, bloody bone. Ach, I see what you mean. You can take the monstrous, sadistic enchanter out of his castle of dungeons and torture chambers, but you can't take the sadistic torturer out of the enchanter. Ah, indeed. But there is yet more. Clothed in the skin of a devoted of Sigmar comes now the nameless thing, with the fetid followers of the grandfather, a blood-leech countess at the fore, and together they will storm the lands of the endless dying and undead spring, to unseat its master, steal his minions, his lands, and plant the seed of the end of all things in his core, and flee. Flee to the servants of the great necromancer, flee before his army of demons and undead, until Vashanesh of Nehekara shall find the fiend and bring him to duel, though he knows he cannot win, but instead shall fan the flames of the soul trapped within, stirring the faith of Sigmar red, and in the flames shall the nameless thing's soul burn and be banished, purged by faith in its own skin. And here the great enchanter is mentioned no more in the terrible prophecies of the Tylean seer and astromancer, Batista Gaspar Necrodomo. Ach, it sounds like he will be finally defeated, but not until the end of the world. Small recompense. When did your Necrodomo say the end of world was going to be again? Ah, well, he claims it will be in 2528 of the imperial calendar, giving us less than a millennium. Ugh, well, at least none of us will be around then. Ah, indeed. Oh, anyway, it's a long way off. Now, well, that's all I have on Drachenfels. But it is not all there is to say about him, is it, Heinrich? Oh, yeah, you are quite correct, Master Tavern Keeper. The Great Enchanter does crop up in my own father's tale. Ah, at last. Let's get into it then. Oh, yeah, your enthusiasm is most appreciated, Master Tavern Keeper. But before I can embark upon this, there is but one more thing that I simply must resolve, so that my tale makes perfect sense to you all. Oh, really? What's that? That is what happened between my grandpapa and the vampire pirate king Lusa Harken on the return journey of Marco Colombo from Lustria.